psychotherapist qualifying in Ontario, and I'm trying to share science-based psychology on my YouTube channel. And today I will be explaining about peak performers, high achievers, and sports psychology, and how you can use information and strategies that peak performers are using in your daily life in order to succeed. And I will be also examining science about how your brain works and some solution focused approaches that might help you to understand yourself better and to find strategies to succeed in your daily life. Subscribe if you are new because we are sharing a lot of useful information here, and if you don't want to miss it, don't forget to turn on your notifications. Here is something that might surprise you at the elite level of sport, where all competitors have extraordinary physical preparation. The differentiating factor is almost never physical, it's more about mental. So even though it seems as if athletes and performers are just relying on their physical abilities and succeeding because of physical factors. However, we are neglecting the mental factor and strategies and efforts they are using mentally. So today we will be discussing about it. Olympic coaches, sports psychologists, and performance researchers consistently find that what separates a gold medalist from silver medalist is not fitness, it's the mental game. And the mental game is learnable and it can be learned by everyone. And today we will be examining mental skills athletes develop, pre-performance routines, the science, visualization, how it works neurologically, arousal regulation, finding your optimal activation zone, and choking under pressure, what is it and how to prevent it, and also a lot of strategies you can use and questions you can ask yourself using solution-focused approach. So what mental training addresses? Sports psychology was formally established in 1960s and 70s, and it addresses and examines psychological factors that influence athlete performance. And the core mental skills include concentration and focus, confidence and self-efficacy, arousal regulation, managing activation levels, motivation, both pre-completion and mid-performance, and resilience, responding to errors, challenges, and setbacks, and mental imagery, goal setting, and pre-performance routines that we will be discussing today. And research consistently shows that elite athletes who systematically develop these mental skills outperform equally talented athletes who don't have these skills. And the performance gap attributable to mental training can be significant. So why does this matter to non-athletes? Why is it important for us to understand this? Because performance, whether athletic, professional, creative, or interpersonal, involves the same fundamental psychological challenges. And managing anxiety, challenging feelings before performance or before high-stake moments, maintaining focus under distraction, stress, pressure, and recovering from mistakes, challenges without loss of confidence require learning a lot of strategies and sustaining motivation through difficulty, performing consistently rather than only when conditions are ideal. And sports psychology developed solutions to these challenges as a result of studying human behavior and science about neuroscience about how the brain works in high feedback, high stakes environments. And the solutions can be learned and used in our daily life widely. The first strategy that many performers and athletes are using is called visualization. And according to neuroscience, if you are able to imagine performing an action, the same motor cortex regions activated in your brain when you physically perform it, and imagination and action share neural pathways. And this means that each time when you are imagining that you are succeeding, you are actually activating a lot of brain regions that can be used for your success and for your performance. And classic study by Kang Yu and Kelly Cole found that one group physically practiced finger exercises for 4 weeks, and the second group imagined doing the same exercises, and physical group improved strength by 30%, while the group that was imagining that they were doing it improved by 22%. And mental practice produces physical results as well. Brain doesn't fully distinguish between vivid imagination and reality. Therefore, what does it mean for us that we can use these strategies to train our brain to become less anxious and more focused whenever we are performing and whenever we are trying to succeed? And effective imaginary practice. Not all mental imagery is equally effective. Research determines the components of high quality imagery that include multisensory, visual, kinesthetic, auditory, and emotional elements, not just seeing, feeling, hearing, experimenting, but internal perspective. It's important to visualize as if you are performing your performance from first person perspective, because seeing through your own eyes tends to activate motor areas more strongly than third person perspective. And process focus, visualizing execution as if you are already doing it, not just outcome. The correct technique, the optimal movement, and precise decision making. And success imagery, visualizing successful execution, performance, not error correction. Extensive error imagery can grow the error pattern. And it's important to do it regularly, like physical training. Consistent daily imagery practice can produce cumulative results in 10-15 minutes daily, outperforms occasional long sessions. And the second strategy is arousal regulation. According to Yerkes-Dodson's law, one of oldest findings in performance psychology, uh, inverted U relationship between arousal and performance. This means that every person have different arousal levels depending on circumstances or the way they are viewing their situation. And there are three types of arousal. First of them is low arousal, second one is normal neutral arousal, and the third one is high arousal. And the first one, the low arousal, includes boredom, inattention, sluggishness. Performance might suffer because of it. And if the arousal is too high, there can be anxiety, panic, tension, attention narrowing, and performance would suffer. Optimal performance might suffer. If arousal is optimal, the zone would be activated but not overwhelmed. And crucially, optimal level varies by task and individual. Complex cognitive tasks might require lower arousal than simple physical tasks, and individual optimal zones are important because during this time you might work the most productively. And one of most important ideas in performance psychology is this Dodson's law, because it teaches us to have the right level of arousal or activation, which might considerably impact our productivity and being able to focus and perform at the highest level. For instance, think of arousal as your mental and physical energy level. When it's too little, you might feel flat, bored, distracted, and you might have low energy and you don't perform well because you are not engaged. If you have too much arousal, then this might make you feel anxious, panicked, rushed, overwhelmed, and your thinking narrows and mistakes increase. And best performance happens in the middle, what athletes often call the zone: energized, focused, and in control. So the goal is not to eliminate stress completely, it's to regulate yourself into an optimal zone and understand what causes optimal zone and how to catch it and how you can make use of it. For instance, if you are trying to present something and you feel sleepy or disengaged, you may need to increase arousal, which can be achieved maybe by moving your body, doing physical exercises, listening to music that energizes you, or increasing intensity. And if you are panicking before an exam or competition, you may need to decrease arousal this time, and you need to find strategies and what works for you to decrease arousal, maybe using grounding, breathing techniques, muscle relaxation, or using any calming routines that help you to calm down. An optimal zone is different for different tasks. For complex tasks, for instance, like surgery, playing chess, public speaking, or taking exams, it usually requires a calmer, more controlled state, whereas uh, simple or explosive physical tasks require often benefit from higher activation or intensity. For instance, if you are heavy lifting or if you are sprinting, if you are having higher arousal, you might benefit more from it and you will be more productive and successful. So each person has their own ideal zone, and uh, elite performers learn to recognize when they are underactivated or overactivated and then use regulation strategies to adjust. Peak performance is not about being as calm, as positive, or as hyped as possible. It's about learning how to get yourself into the state where you perform well and in which situations. So, for instance, can you remember a time when you performed at your best, even under pressure? What helped you to achieve this outcome? Who was there with you? What did you notice about yourself that helped you to achieve it? And what was different about your mental state in that moment? And how energized were you? Were you too calm? Were you too anxious or somewhere in the middle? And what signs told you that you were in the zone? What was happening? How you were relating to your thoughts, to yourself during that times when you had optimal performance? And even during stressful situations, when are you able to stay regulated? What helps you to stay grounded? What you are already doing that in these moments that helps you, and which who notices when you are performing well, and what do you think they notice? So answering these questions can help you to find your optimal zone and choosing performance that you want to develop or to do better, and asking yourself these questions about that performance or about that task can help you to give ideas what might work for you and what you need in order to catch your optimal zone and to maintain it. Individual zones of optimal functioning. According to Yuri Hanin, refined the Yerkes-Dodson's model with zones of optimal functioning. Each athlete has an individual optimal arousal zone, not a single universal point, and practical implications include that you need to know your zone, not apply a generic calm down or pump up protocol. And some people perform best when they are quiet and in calm environments, and whereas others need significant activation. And therefore, learning your zone through self-observation in practice and com- competition is one of the highest leverage investments in performance. For instance, imagine tomorrow that you already have entered this ideal performance zone and more consistently. What would be the very first small sign of it that you're already in that zone and you are performing well? What would others notice about you, and what would you be doing differently, and what routines or habits would support that state? And what helps to increase your energy and focus? So what helps you to calm down and center, or what routines help you regain control quickly or to act in your optimal zone? Cyan Bedlock's research at University of Chicago found that mechanisms of choking for highly automatic automated skills like hitting a golf ball or playing a musical phrase. Conscious attention disrupts performance, and choking occurs when anxiety causes over monitoring or automated skills, disrupting their smooth execution. Whereas for complex cognitive skills, the mechanism is different, and anxiety consumes working memory resources needed for complex processing. And prevention strategies might differ considerably. For automated skills, distraction from self-monitoring, process focus routine might work, whereas for cognitive skills, you will need working memory training and reducing intrusive thoughts. So, Vailock's research helps to explain why people sometimes perform worse precisely when the stakes are highest. So, maybe you have noticed that. Maybe you have prepared a lot for certain presentation or speech or performance, but whenever you are starting to perform, you do much worse than you were doing while you were trained. So this might happen because of several factors. Maybe because you are too anxious or too stressed on and focusing on what might go wrong. You are focusing on your muscles, for instance, or physical sensations, and this makes it more difficult for you to focus on your job or on your task, and this might cause challenges and losing confidence. For instance, automatic skills, thinking too much, this is one of errors. For highly practiced skills like shooting a basketball or playing piano, typing or swimming for a golf club, performance becomes automated over time. Like imagine how you are driving your car. Oftentimes you don't even notice how you are turning right or left or what you need to do. Your behavior becomes automatic. But under pressure, you start to suddenly suddenly consciously controlling your movements that uh, normally run automatically. In other words, you begin to overthink skills that you already have, and this might cause more mistakes and errors and worse performance. For instance, tennis player who normally serves fluidly suddenly might start thinking, keep your elbow up, rotate shoulders, don't miss. And this conscious monitoring interrupts automatic execution, and performance might collapse, might decrease. Therefore, the goal is not to think more, but the goal is to trust the training. And some helpful strategies to cope with this might include using consistent pre-performance routines, focusing on rhythm or timing, using simple cues instead of detailed analysis, and directing attention outward rather than inward. So, when do you perform these skills most naturally, and what helps you trust your training? Maybe you are noticing that you are paying more attention towards the skills that you know. And what are some times when you are able to do it well despite your mind wandering or you are overthinking? What helps you to calm down, to stay focused under pressure, and what are you doing differently when you don't choke? And what simple cue help you to stay fluid and automatic? Which routines help your body to settle into performance mode? So asking yourself these questions can help you to find strategies that might work for you. And for complex thinking tasks like exams, public speaking, decision making, or strategy, choking happens differently. Maybe you have high anxiety levels filled with working memory, with intrusive thoughts. Maybe you think, what if I fail? Everyone is judging me, everyone is looking at me, and I can't mess this up. And your brain becomes overloaded, leaving fewer mental resources available for actual tasks. And here is the goal to reduce mental interference with your functioning and protect working memory capacity. So, again, asking yourself, when have you performed well? When you were able to think clearly, to focus, to stay grounded even under pressure? What helped you to stay mentally organized, and what usually reduces distracting thoughts for you, and what would help you to free up even 10% of more mental space, and what small routines can help you to regain focus quickly. And there are certain routines that athletes and professionals are using to calm down and to focus on their performance. And one of the most effective performance tools is pre-performance routines. And most people already have a routine under pressure, and maybe you also have, but you are just not aware of it. And but sometimes they can be the terrible ones. For instance, some people's current routines include panicking, checking phone for 14 times, imagining failure, questioning their life choices, and hoping for the worst to happen. And this is not the useful routines. A pre-performance useful routines is consistent sequence of actions that you do before an important performance. And the goal is here is to reduce your stress, chaos, and calm your nervous system, and tell the brain that you are you've been here before in this kind of situations before, and help yourself to trust into your abilities. And research from sports psychology shows that consistent routines reduce anxiety and improve performance consistency, especially under pressure. It's happening because your brain starts to notice and accept these frequently used strategies as habit. They become like automatic behavior, and they become as a choice point for you to relax and to focus. And over time, as I said, this behavior becomes automatic, and you don't need even to try hard to do very hard things in order to get into this state of readiness. Because pressure creates uncertainty, and routines create familiarity, and your brain loves familiarity. Even if situation is stressful, routines tell your nervous system that this is normal, and that you are prepared. And there are three parts of good routines. The first one is physical preparation. This might involve breathing, grounding exercises, stretching, movement, loosening tension, and basically they are trying to look like a this physical preparation also becomes a kind of point to prepare you to relax and to focus your attention on something else, on something that you can relax instead of become even more stressed. And it might include mental preparation, which focuses on attention, and this might include visualization, one focus cue, intention setting, not thinking what if I fail and everyone remembers forever, but something like taking one step at a time, uh, focusing on what you can control at that moment, noticing your thoughts, and redirecting your attention towards what's important for you at that moment, trusting your training. And the third one is behavioral sequence. So this is the repeatable pattern. It can include deep breathing, adjusting stance, cue word, and beginning. And the exact actions matter because they matter less than the consistency, because eventually your brain starts to associate the routine with readiness. And it's important to keep it short. This routine shouldn't be very long, and it might take for around 5-7 minutes maximum. And under pressure, people often become inconsistent, and routine creates stability, familiarity, and helps you to calm down and focus on your performance. And you cannot control every outcome, but you can control your preparation sequence that might considerably help you to relax and keep going. And sometimes peak performance starts with doing the same small things consistently before the big moment. And we have mentioned about daily imagery practices. We have discussed about why is it useful and how you can use it. And every day, for instance, using this imagery practice for 10 minutes, deliberately, intentionally, multisensory, and using it from first person perspective, and using process focused mental imagery of your target performance domain can considerably improve your performance. And it's not before sleep when attention wanders, but it should be during a focused alert time when you are conscious, with eyes closed or full sensory engagement. In over 8 weeks, research shows that measurable improvements in performance across virtually every domain were studied, and from free throw shooting to surgical techniques to musical performance, and there were considerable performance improvement during these weeks for the people who were able to use this practice. And the next strategy is activation dial. Before any important performance, assessing your current level of activation level on a scale from 1 to 10, and estimating your optimal zone is important because, as we have discussed, if it's too high, it can activate your down regulation protocol, and slow extended breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, power and posture, calm and self-talk can help to achieve this. And if it's too low, it can activate your up-regulation protocol. So short, sharp breathing, physical activation, energizing music, activating self-talk might help. And it's important to know your protocol in advance, because searching for a strategy under pressure is itself would be distracting and disrupting. And the next strategy is called error response protocol. This means calculating and assuming mistakes that you might have during performance, and not hoping that you will handle everything perfectly, and thinking about how you can cope with it and what you can do in order to motivate or improve your mood if you are making mistakes, was found to considerably improve performance. In psychotherapy, we are also talking about worst case scenarios. For instance, if you have anxiety about performance or about other things, we are going into a down arrow technique where we are helping the person to understand what might they be afraid of and about worst case scenarios. And oftentimes they notice that what they feel scared of is not actually as scary, or it's not as likely to happen. And when we are afraid to think about it, or when we are trying to suppress our emotions or thoughts, they come back with a stronger power and they disturb us and they become a barrier in performing. However, when we are able to understand our fears, our feelings, and thinking about possible challenges that we might have, it considerably helps you to calm down and to focus on what can be improved, what can be done, or even if you will make a challenge, make a mistake, how you can improve it. So also after making a mistake, acknowledging it that it happened, and returning to process focus and redirecting your attention towards what can be done, what can be changed, and thinking about the next points, next paragraph, next movement, was found to increase performance considerably. And elite performers recover from errors fast, not because they care less, but because they have automatic pre-planned recovery response, what is helping them. And designing your in advance gives you the same advantage. So there were some questions that you asked before. The first question was, does mental training work for everyone? According to evidence and research, yes, it helps everyone from different backgrounds, different perspectives, different cultures, religions, nations, and effectiveness depends on engagement, quality, and consistency. Those who practice imagery half-heartedly get half-hearted results. So your perception of these strategies, your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings matter. And those who engage fully and consistently see significant performance improvements. So how do you find your optimal arousal zone? Self-observation is important. uh, Observing yourself across multiple performances while you are performing different tasks, noting your subjective arousal level and quality of performance, understanding what motivates you, what helps you to come back from failures, and over time, patterns might emerge. Some athletes use biofeedback tools to make them more precise, but thoughtful self-observation over from 4 to 6 weeks usually gives sufficient information about what might work for you, what's your optimal zone, which level of arousal is most helpful for you, and can these tools help with performance anxiety? Significantly, pre-performance routines reduce uncertainty. Imagery builds familiarity and confidence, and activation regulation addresses physiological symptoms. An error response protocol reduces catastrophizing about mistakes, and sports psychology tools are among the most evidence-based interventions for performance anxiety. So today we were discussing about mental training, how it differentiating factor at elite performance levels, and its tools that are universally applicable. And we examined questions and strategies that might help you to find your strategies to use if you will feel anxious, to gain some rituals and habits before starting your task, and planning in advance if you will have any challenges, how to come back from setbacks. And we discussed about visualization, how it works neurologically, and about imagery, model execution, shared neural pathways, and arousal regulation that requires knowing your individual optimal zone. And we also spoke about choking that has specific mechanisms with specific preventions. And we focused on 4 tools, including pre-performance routine, daily imagery practice, activation dial, and error response protocol. So elite performers are not superhumans, and they have developed specific mental skills deliberately, intentionally, systematically, and over time. And as we have mentioned, according to research, athletes who gain gold medals, they are using these strategies consciously, and you will also have access to the same tools. The question is whether you will use them, whether we will believe, and whether we will use these strategies. If this session was helpful for you, don't forget to subscribe and to turn on your notifications. If you will have any further questions, don't forget to leave your questions and experiences in the comments. I'm reading your comments and trying to answer to your questions in every new session. I hope this was helpful for you, and have a nice weekend. Take good care of yourself, and see you in the next sessions again.